in through the front door. This is Oscar winning already, I can feel it. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Evangeline and I am a writer and a script editor, and this is the first video of my new screenwriting series. I don't know what I'm going to call the series yet, but basically a month or two ago I uploaded a video that was my top 10, although it was actually 11 because I can't count, top 10 tips for screenwriting for like newbie screenwriters, and I sort of said in that video that I was going to do extra videos on each of those tips to kind of unpack them a little bit more and explain them further. And some of those points certainly need that. For example, today I'm going to be doing formatting, but I definitely want to do a video on scene headings because scene headings can be really, really complicated. So I think it deserves its own video. Exposition, dialogue, all that fun stuff. So as mentioned, today's video is going to be on formatting and basically just how you format a screenplay. Nice and simple. I'm not going to overcomplicate anything. I'm not going to go really in depth. It's just going to be the basics of screenplay formatting. Before I get into it though, I do just want to, I guess, self-promote myself. So as I mentioned, I'm a script editor, and I do have my own website and my own service, which is broken down into 3 different packages, and you can see all of that on my website. I'll link it in the description below, but I am very affordable, and I very much would love to work with some more writers, so please do not hesitate to get in touch with me. All my contact information is on the website, but I will also link all my social media and contact information in the description as well. Right, let's get on with this video then. So for this video I am going to be using Celtx, which is an online screenwriting website, and it is free, although with the free version you can, I think, do up to 2 projects. With the paid version you can do unlimited. I do have the paid version purely because of my script editing, but with the free version you get exactly what I'm about to show you, so don't worry about that. This obviously is not sponsored by Celtx, by the way. This is genuinely just, I love this website, like, and I've used it ever since I started screenwriting, all the way through college, all the way through uni. It's great. So the amazing thing about Celtx is it basically formats it for you. Okay, that's kind of the gist of it. It's so much easier than using Word, for example, because with Word you have to, centralise dialogue, centralise characters, move it back to the left for action, capitalise things, etc. And it's annoying and it's complicated. Celtx does it all for you, and it's also a great way of learning as well. So before we get into all of these lovely features down here, which are all the features we're going to be talking about except for text, because I think text is useless. I'm not really sure why it's there, to be perfectly honest, so we're going to just ignore that. I've never used it, ever, so I'm just going to ignore that one. Yeah, we're going to be talking about all of these, but before that, I do just want to show you that there is an option on here to add a title page as well, and title pages are really important. If you're ever submitting a script to a competition, or, to a production company, to a producer, literally anything, even to a script editor, always put a title page on it because it just makes you look super professional, and you literally just put the title of your film. So I'm just going to put Formatting 101, by, and then Evangeline, and then you can put a based on if it's based on anything, and then copyright, and your contact information. Yeah, really simple. And then basically when you download the script, it will come up on your computer in a PDF file, and that will be the first page you see, and it just makes it look super professional. Same goes for when you print it. My dog's barking in the background, I do apologise. Bilbo! So we're going to start with the first option on the tab, which is the act. So I don't really use acts when I'm writing scripts. I'm pretty sure it's an optional thing. I've never seen anything, like read anything, been taught that you have to use it. But essentially, if you want to break your script down into acts, I think it's more common in TV, but I'm not certain. I don't write as much TV or edit as much TV scripts, but yeah, it's literally all it does is it will bring your cursor into the center and it will capitalize and underline what you're writing, and then you can put Act 1, Act 2 or Act 3. Normally a script is broken into the 3-act structure. It is quite unusual, I think, to see like Act 4, Act 5, even though there are 5-act structures, but I would stick to just the 3 acts as that's kind of the classic. And then when the act ends, you can also put, oh, I don't know why it's done that, but you can put end of Act 1 or something like that. But yeah, I don't really use acts. I've never edited a script with acts, so I wouldn't worry too much about acts. What I would worry about though is the scene heading, which is what we're going to come on to now. I was just thinking, why can't I see this very well? And it's because I haven't got my glasses on. I literally I look like an art teacher. I look like a crazy art teacher. Anyway, what I'm about to write, I'm going to write a scene obviously as I'm explaining these different elements. I don't know what this is going to be. I haven't prepared anything, so just kind of ignore what I'm actually, the actual content of what I'm writing, because it's probably going to be gibberish. So what Celtx will do is it will immediately stick the scene heading in the right place on the page. It will give it this sort of shadowed box, as you can see, and it will immediately capitalise it. So for now I'm just going to go for interior. We're in a house and it's the night. So then when you click enter, it will take you straight to action, which is perfect, as that is our next element to talk about. So action is where you write what the hell is going on in your script, and action is literally written as it would be written in a book, I guess, you know, formatted to the left. Amy, I'm kind of capitalise Amy, not because this scene would not be the beginning of a film, like I'm not writing this scene as if it's the beginning of a film, but as this is the only scene that exists in this world, I'm still going to capitalise Amy as it's the first time I'm meeting her. I'm just going to put her age, she'd be 30. I'll put rushes in through the front door. This is Oscar winning already, I can feel it. With his head in his hands. Okay, so I know there's not much character description, if any, but it doesn't matter because we're not here to talk about characters. So we've got a nice example of action there, and then we're gonna want a bit of dialogue, I think. So we're gonna click enter, which will take us down to the next line. We're gonna want firstly a character tag. So before your character speaks, you want to know which character's speaking. So I guess this, you can liken this to in a book when it says said whoever. This is kind of that moment in a screenplay where you assign your dialogue to a character. So we'll do Amy. So it's always capitalised. What will happen on Celtx is when you then click enter, it will already take your formatting to dialogue, because it's assuming that what you're going to write next is dialogue. Not always the case. You might want to put a parenthetical or something, which we'll get onto in a minute. But for now we're going to just get right on with dialogue. So that's obviously really helpful. But yeah, essentially dialogue is all centralised in the script, and what's great with Celtx is it centralises it for you. Where is he? Just the screenwriter in me wants to just add a little bit of bloodshot eyes. What we're gonna go on to next is the parenthetical. So a parenthetical is essentially just a fancy word for a bracket. And I used to use these very incorrectly when I was starting off, and I would put like action in it. So I would put maybe like Johnny, who the hell's Johnny? George. I would maybe put, when I was first starting off, I'd put like shrugs his shoulders and sighs, and then put some dialogue of like, I don't know, whatever. That is incorrect. Okay, you do not do that. How I gauge it is a parenthetical. It's essentially more about how a line is specifically delivered, and you don't want to use these too much because at the end of the day, from what you've already written, you should already have an idea of how the character's feeling, or what how they're gonna be saying something. You know, the situation they're in is already probably going to convey to the actor who's playing the part of how they should be saying that line. But you basically would put the brackets right underneath the name of the character, and you might put, I'm just gonna put distressed. Or we could put maybe like shaking voice or something like that. And yeah, it just gets across this idea that something's clearly wrong with Amy. You know, she's in a form of distress, believe it or not. So that's how parentheticals work. It's literally just a bracket underneath the character name. Let's talk about, before we go on to transition, because transition happens at the end of a scene, so we're going to ignore that for now and just talk about shots quickly. So shots are, in my opinion, stay away from them. Like when I'm script editing, when I'm writing my own stuff, I really don't use them at all, because you're not the director, you're not directing the script, and it's just not your job. You can, I think the like rule of thumb is you could use maybe like a close-up or an insert, but that is about it. I'll quickly explain that. So if we are going to use shot types, and I will show you how it's formatted, just because, you know, it is a thing that is used, and obviously if you are a director writing your own script, then you can go ahead and use all the shots you like. But so I'll quickly show you how that works. So I'm just going to add a bit more context to this so we can get a shot type in there and it actually makes sense. So I've just added this little bit in the middle just so we can make this shot make sense. So if, say for example, we wanted to have a close-up of that letter, you essentially, it's all written in the action line, but the shot is capitalized. So if you click on shot on Celtx, it does capitalize it for you. So let's just do a close on. But then you don't really, I don't know, I don't like writing the rest of the sentence in capitals. I prefer then going back down to, it always does this, it's really frustrating. Sometimes it is easier with Celtx to just capitalize it yourself rather than using the actual shot option. But let's just write it all in capitals for now and see if I can get it down to lowercase. Amy's shaking hand as she reaches for the letter. Let me see if I can. Oh, I don't think it's gonna let me do it. It sometimes does let you do it. It's not gonna let me do it. Okay, what I'm gonna do is, because you can write it like that if you want, but I personally don't like doing that. So I'm just gonna quickly go back and I'm just gonna literally capitalize this myself. So yeah, essentially a shot is capitalized, so that is basically a close-up. Then an insert is so I'm just going to do Amy's eyes widen and her mouth drops open in a gasp as she opens the letter, and then you just do insert letter. That's not a spell insert. And then here you might have like a voiceover or something of the person who wrote the letter reading it out, or you might just literally physically see what's written. But we're not going to go any further than that for now. So that's how you format shots into a script. As I've said before, I don't think you should use shots in a script. There are ways to kind of get this across without actually putting the shot types in there. There's a way of like insinuating it. Like for example here, if you just merely are just writing Amy's shaking hand reaches for the letter, you're insinuating that that's all we can see anyway, so that's a close-up. So yeah, there are ways of doing it without using shot types, but it is up to the writer, and it is obviously different depending on if you are directing the script you're writing. So the last element of format we're going to talk about is the transition. As I said, we're going to ignore text. Text purely just lets you type, literally like action. It's just the same as action, so I don't quite understand why it's there. But anyway, for transition, I always say use transitions. I can't say that word. Why is it so difficult? Use transitions sparingly. Essentially, a transition should be formatted on the right side of the page, in the bottom corner, and it's in capitals. And let's just do a cut to for now. And then you just pop a colon there as well. I can't explain why you do that. That's just how it's written. And then underneath you start your next scene. And the great thing about Celtx is it does that automatically. So when you click enter, it goes straight to the next scene. and you can, you know, start again. So that is pretty much it when it comes to formatting. It is pretty simple stuff. There's nothing too complex about the basic structure of a screenplay, the basic formatting. There are more elements to it. For example, as you start writing your screenplays, you might find that you want to write a phone conversation, or that like intercuts between two scenes, or you want to write dual dialogue, or you want to write a montage, and they do require different formatting. But I'm not going to get into it in this video, just because, as I say, I just wanted to focus on the basics. It's not too hard, right? I don't know how good I was at explaining that. I think seeing it's easier than just explaining it, which is why I shared my screen with you. But hopefully that was helpful. And as I said, I'm going to be doing more videos like this on the basics of screenwriting. I definitely want to do a video on scene headings. That might be my next one. I think scene headings can be really tricky, as I mentioned, and they, even to this day, sometimes confuse me. I'll be honest, okay? We're all about honesty on this channel. Thank you for watching. I hope, as I say, it was informative and not too complicated, and that I explained things well. If you have any fun tips about formatting, then please comment them below. Any questions, comment them below, and I'll see you all in the next video, hopefully.